Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be doing my July and Booktube-A-Thon wrap-up. So this video is extremely late and I am so sorry for that. I got in this morning at like 6 a.m. from a road trip to Florida for a week. So that's why I was not able to upload last week or do any more updates or challenges from Booktube-A-Thon. However, I did read 12 books in July and 5 of those were from Booktube-A-Thon. So let's get started. So the first book I read in July was Surviving High School by Lele Pons and Melissa De La Cruz. This book was gifted to me by a very dear friend of mine, and I say that because, quite frankly, I didn't know who Lele Pons was before I was gifted this book or read this book. I don't usually reach for memoirs just because I'm not really into that kind of stuff, and I read it because it's a fairly short read, and I thought that it would just be nice and summery and light, and it definitely was. It was very enjoyable. However, I felt that I was kind of trudging through it a little bit, just like through certain parts I just kind of had to trudge through it. It wasn't intriguing, like it didn't really hold my attention that I can't put it down. So I ended up rating this book 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it, but it definitely wasn't a favorite. And then I completed the entire Shatter Me trilogy by Tahereh Mafi. I loved this trilogy so much. I read all 3 books, including the 2 novellas from Unite Me. I read them all in order, including the novellas, and I loved it so much. Shatter Me definitely was my favorite. This series, honestly, I think it's really a new favorite. However, there are a few things that I disagree with, and I was thinking about doing a book talk because I have a lot of thoughts about this series. So let me know down below if you would like a book talk on these books or any of the books I show. I would be glad to do any of them. But yeah, I really enjoyed these. I rated Shatter Me 5 out of 5 stars, Unravel Me 4 out of 5 stars, Ignite Me 5 out of 5 stars, and in terms of the 2 novellas, I gave Destroy Me 4 out of 5 stars and Fracture Me 5 out of 5 stars. After completing the Shatter Me trilogy, I decided to pick up To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. This book has been on my TBR for the longest time. I've owned this book for at least a year now, and I'm so glad that I was able to pick it up. It is only about 330 pages, I think, so I read it within the span of 24 hours, and I really enjoyed it. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed Lara Jean as a main character and protagonist. She was just really relatable and funny, and I am considering reading the rest of the trilogy. By the time I completed To All the Boys I Loved Before, it was time for Booktube-A-Thon, and the first book that I completed during Booktube-A-Thon was Tash Hearts Tolstoy by Catherine Ormsby. As I mentioned in one of my updates, Tash Hearts Tolstoy didn't live up to the hype for me. I rated it 3 out of 5 stars. I lowered it half a star, but I think that it was enjoyable, but it just didn't live up to the hype. It definitely did have a few topics that I am sensitive to, so those parts I definitely did have to be cautious around, so maybe that had something to do with it. However, I enjoyed it. However, I just don't know if it lived up to the hype for me, and I don't think I'd ever reread this book. This book completed the challenge of reading about a character that is different from you, as Tash was asexual in this book and I'm not. And then I read Everything by Nicola Yoon. This book completed the challenge of reading a hyped book, and this was another 3-star for me. Again, it didn't live up to the hype for me. I think that a lot of the concepts in this book weren't very intelligent. If I'm being completely blunt, I just think that the plot twist at the end, it wasn't worth all that crescendo that built up to it, and I think that Maddie as a character wasn't very strong, and I think that she just came off as kind of helpless and whiny, and she didn't listen very much, so I didn't really enjoy that. I enjoyed Ollie as a main character. However, like I said, he didn't make the best decisions. No one in this book really did. I just feel like the story itself wasn't as good as I was hoping it to be. I think that the only thing that helped this book not be a 2-star was the format. There were not only like chapters, but there were verses and journal entries and charts, and I thought that that was pretty cool, and it made the reading experience a bit better. Next, I read Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. This completed the challenge of reading a book with a person on the cover. This originally was not part of my TBR, but like I said in my update video, this book is for a school assignment that I have to do, so I did read it and I enjoyed it. It definitely touched on mental health, which, like I I have previously mentioned I really do enjoy in young adult literature. However, I did not rate it 5 out of 5 stars because I wish that there was more development in the main character. I think that this book was way too short for the amount of potential it had, so I really do wish that she had more character development. However, I did really love the ending and the strength that she showed, so yeah, I enjoyed this book. And then for the challenge of reading a book in one day, I read The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight by Jennifer A. Smith. This book was extremely enjoyable. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It is extremely short as well. However, I did really love the romance, and I wasn't sure if I would just because it does take place over 24 hours, and I am not a fan of insta-love. However, I don't think it really was insta-love. I loved the conversations that Hadley and Oliver had on the plane. In terms of the other conflicts and the underrising plot, I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best to read about. However, I just didn't really agree with some of Hadley's choices. I would have held more grudges, and I just couldn't really relate to her on that level, which is why this was a 4 out of 5 stars. And the final book that I read during July was I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I love this book so much. 5 out of 5 stars. I think it is my favorite contemporary that I've read all year. It is so different from every other contemporary that I've ever read. It's not a straight out romance book, and it's not like a total coming of age tale. It's a mix of everything, and I really loved it. I listened to this book on audiobook, which made it just more enjoyable, and I do count it towards my Booktube-A-Thon reads just because I read it during Booktube-A-Thon. I don't know if this crosses off any challenges. I don't think so, but I still really enjoyed it, and you should definitely read it. So guys, those are the 12 books that I read during July. I am extremely proud of this number. July was really that month that really got me back into reading, and I am just wanting to read everything this month. So expect a really big August wrapped up next. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and all that other great stuff. I'll see you guys in another video. Bye!